Now, dictation, you get 3 to 4 questions, and these questions can have 10 to 15 words in general, one sentence, and you get 1 point per word, which means you need to make sure that the words that you are writing there have correct spelling. Okay, as I was telling you, there are different things to keep in mind while doing dictation, especially based on the scoring criteria. So scoring criteria is very simple. You get 1 point for one correct word, which means if there are 10 words, then you can get 10 points if all the 10 words are correct. Now, what are the situations where you are likely to lose the points? When you don't write the word because you can't remember, when you write the word but the spelling is incorrect, when you write the word and the grammar is incorrect. In all these situations, you don't get the points. So you need to be careful about these factors while doing dictation. But how do we do dictation? Because this question is a little confusing and difficult as well. Sometimes when the sentences are long, most of us tend to forget what the sentence was about. And usually this happens when we focus more on individual words rather than understanding the sentence. Dictation basically is trying to find out whether you have a good understanding of the English sentence constructions or not. In English, almost all sentences have a basic structure, and that is subject, and then verb, and then object. So this is called simple sentence. Subject, verb, and object. This is called simple sentence. And then there are different types of sentences we get in English. I'm just trying to give you an overview of this here so that your understanding becomes better. So we have got 4 different types of sentences in English. We call them first the simple sentence. So let's talk about simple sentence first. What is simple sentence? Simple sentence means sentence with single idea. Now, simple sentence has nothing to do with the complexity, has nothing to do with the complexity of the idea or the length of the sentence. It simply means this is a sentence with just one idea. These kind of sentences usually tend to have subject, verb, and object only. Some of the questions you get in the test will be simple sentence. So in these types of sentences, as much as possible, try to focus on the 3 parts of the sentence. Let me give you one example here. Let's say the sentence is this. My house is located at the junction between your house and his house. So you can see that the sentence itself is quite long, but if we look at the sentence carefully, this is just a simple sentence. Why? There is only one idea, that is location of the house. And here, my house, this is the subject, and is located, this is the verb. And this part is, although it looks like a long expression, you can see this is only telling us about the place at the junction between your house and his house. So it is only giving us information about the place. So it's a simple sentence containing subject, verb, and the predicate, or we call that extra information as well for the simplicity. So my house is located at the junction between your house and his house. So if you try to memorize my and house and is and located this way, it becomes too difficult. But if you focus on the phrases, then you can clearly see that you just have to memorize 3 phrases. One, you have to say my house. Then second, you have to say is located. Then third is the place at the junction between your house and his house. So this kind of sentences usually have 3 phrases like this. The last phrase is usually about 5 different P's. I call them 5 different P's. They are either place, information about place, information about person, information about period, which is basically time, and purpose, place, person, period, purpose, and I just forgot the 5th one. Anyway, so this is usually about the place, person, period, or purpose. So this kind of sentences, when you're practicing, make sure that you can identify them, which is the subject, which is the verb, or the information related to verb, and what is the extra information, which is about a place, a person, a period, a purpose. I'll give you some examples here about the other P's as well. Please give this pen to my brother. Please give this pen to my brother. In this one, you can see that we don't have a subject, but it's starting with a verb. Please give this pen to my brother. So the phrases here are, please give this pen to my brother. So this is how you need to practice. This is for the simple sentence, but not all the sentences are simple sentences. Sometimes we also get compound sentence. So let's talk about the compound sentence. What is a compound sentence? And how can compound sentence make it difficult for us to understand or memorize the sentence? We'll talk about that as well. So what is a compound sentence? The idea of compound sentence can be simple as well, and sometimes it can be complex too. So compound sentence, again, is not related to the complexity of the sentence. It's just related to a simple idea. That is, if one sentence has two ideas and both the ideas are independent, then we call that compound sentence. For example, this is the hospital. The hospital was constructed in 1973. Now, if I combine these two sentences, these are two different ideas. If I combine them, it becomes this is the hospital and it was constructed in 1973. So you can see that now there are two independent sentences connected with the help of a linking word and. These kind of sentences are called compound sentence or complex sentence. So it's not, the sentence itself is easy to understand. There is nothing complex about it. There is nothing compound about it. But the reason we call this compound sentence is it has two independent sentences. This is one sentence and this is the second sentence. In these kind of questions, try to focus on one idea, linking word, another idea. Okay, we'll look into some of the examples of this later on. So this is the hospital and it was constructed in 1973. This is compound sentence. Then after that, the third kind of sentence is called mixed sentence. Mixed sentence means it has two components. One is independent sentence, another is dependent sentence. So when the phrase is independent plus dependent in any order, okay, it can start with dependent, it can start with independent, but this is the order, independent plus dependent. That is called mixed sentence. An example of this is, to pass any exams you have to work hard. So you can see you have to work hard is an independent sentence. To pass any exams, this is not a complete sentence. This is an incomplete sentence, and the meaning of this part will never be clear if you don't get a chance to see this part of the sentence. So this is independent part, this is dependent part, and this kind of sentences are called mixed sentences. So you can see that there are different types of sentences. These are the three commonest types of sentences we get in the exam. Simple sentence, try to focus on three phrases: subject, verb, and object. Compound sentence, there will be two different ideas in these sentences. Try to write down the central idea of each part first and then expand it later with the help of your memory of the sentence. And the last one is independent and dependent. Here, the independent part and dependent part both will have one central idea. Focus on that and try to write it. So this is the theoretical basis of how to do dictation. But we have to look into the actual exam questions to find out how we need to do this. So I'm going to play a few recordings here, and I'll give you some time to write down the answer yourself. And then I'll tell you what is the answer.
Meeting with tutors could be arranged for students who need additional help.
So the sentence is, meeting with tutors could be arranged for students who need additional help. So I can easily remember and write this sentence without making any mistake. The reason is not that my memory is good, but I understand the sentence constructions well. As you can see here, meeting with tutors, this is subject, could be arranged, the verb, for students who need additional help, the object part or the predicate part. So you can see there are three parts of the sentence which we have organized like this. Meeting with tutors could be arranged for students who need additional help. And in the exam, let's say you have to write this and you are scared that you might forget a part of the sentence, I suggest you do this. First, write this much. Here, this means meeting, this means tutors, this means students, this means help. So first, write the main words just in the essential part of the main word. That means the short form of the main word. And once you have the short form expanded into word, change this by adding the information which would expand the idea. So meeting tutors, meeting tutors. Would that make sense grammatically? No, we need with, meeting with tutors. Students help. There must be a verb here. So that verb is could be arranged for students help. That would not make sense. So most likely we'll remember like who need help, right? Let's say who need help. Now, if I go in this way, what happens is I might forget additional. But even by logically thinking, I can make sure that most of the words have been correctly written, and not just I'm relying on the sound, I'm actually thinking about the grammar as well. And because of that, feeling the ideas with the appropriate structure becomes easier. So my method, my trick here is when I listen to any question, first I write down the essential word from each part of the sentence. If it's a simple sentence, from subject, from verb, and from object. If it's a compound sentence, from the first sentence and from the second sentence. If it's a mixed sentence, from the independent idea and dependent idea. I try to write the important words which have meaning. The words which have meaning are also called content words. Call them meaning words. Then we have got another type of words in sentence which we call function words. And you can call them grammar words. Now, grammar words, anyone who is familiar with the English structure can resupply them later on to expand the sentence. Your focus should always be on content words because these are the things we are likely to forget. Because grammar, we are not learning the grammar in the exam. We are not trying to understand the grammar in the exam. We already know them. It's just the content words that we do not know. For example, I already know that meeting is often followed by with when I'm talking about somebody having meeting with someone. You always have meeting with someone. Meeting is followed by with. So I don't have to memorize the with part. That's why I was only focusing on meeting and tutors so that I could write the correct word. So this is how you need to think. Let's do another question. Again, you can try and send your answer here. And Sivali, you did a good job. You remembered the sentence quite well. Okay, let's see how well you will do next time. Ready?
Meeting with tutors could be arranged for students who need additional help.
That was the first one.
International students can get help with locating housing near the university.
You can see I have written a few letters from some of the words I heard there, which I'm going to expand now. Let's do it one by one. INT, that stands for international. ST is for students. This is for locating. This is for housing, and this is for university. Now, international students, locating, housing, university. Even if I write only this much, I'll get 5 points, but I can see that this sentence has grammatical problem. International students, let's try to remember what we heard there. Could get help with. Now you can see I didn't write this part because I already know this phrase, could get help with. Could get help with is a phrase. So one of the strategies you can develop to do dictation question is go through all the past questions, look at these sentences, and try to find out the phrases, the common phrases, so that you never have to memorize them in the exam, and you can rather focus more on the words like international students. International students could get help with locating housing, university. Now, something is missing. Housing, university would not